The LuxAlgo Smart Money Concepts Indicator is one of the most used tools on all of TradingView, and it is completely free. But most people add it to a chart, see a wall of boxes, labels, and colored lines appear all at once, get overwhelmed, and switch it straight back off. That is a genuine shame, because underneath that clutter is one of the clearest maps you can get of where institutional traders are likely active. The problem was never the indicator. The problem is that it ships with almost everything switched on at the same time, and nobody tells you which settings actually matter. So here is what we are doing. Every meaningful setting inside Smart Money Concepts, what it actually does, what to set it to, and why, and then exactly how to trade the chart you are left with. By the end, you will have a clean, readable chart instead of a Christmas tree. One quick thing first, because it confuses almost everybody. LuxAlgo have two products with similar names. Smart Money Concepts is the free one, and that is the one we are using today. Price Action Concepts is their paid version. Everything in this video works on the free indicator, so you can follow along without spending a penny. To add it, open the Indicators menu at the top of your TradingView chart, type Smart Money Concepts, and choose the LuxAlgo one. Then hover over the indicator name on your chart and click the little settings gear to open the Inputs panel. That panel is where the entire video lives. Let us start at the very top with Mode. Mode has two choices, historical and present. And this single setting changes the personality of the whole indicator. Historical mode draws every structure break, every order block, every zone the indicator has ever detected across your chart's history. It is fantastic for learning, and it is essential if you want to scroll back and study how these concepts actually played out. Present mode does the opposite. It strips away the old stuff and shows you only what is currently relevant and still in play. Here is my honest recommendation. Learn in historical, trade in present. When you are studying, historical shows you hundreds of examples to train your eye. But when you are actually looking for a live trade, all that history is just noise competing for your attention. Flip to present, and the chart suddenly breathes. Next is style, which offers colored or monochrome. Colored gives you the standard green and red treatment for bullish and bearish elements. Monochrome strips the color out and renders everything in neutral grays. This one is genuinely personal preference, but there is a real argument for monochrome that most people never consider. When everything is green and red, your brain starts reacting emotionally to color rather than reading structure. On a chart this busy, neutral tones can actually make you a calmer, more objective reader. Try both for a week. Underneath that sits color candles. Switch this on, and the indicator recolors your actual candlesticks to match the detected trend. It looks impressive, and for a beginner it is genuinely useful, because trend direction becomes impossible to miss. But I would turn it off once you are comfortable. The reason is subtle but important. When your candles are permanently colored by the indicator, you slowly stop reading raw price action and start outsourcing your judgment to the tool. Keep your candles honest. Now we get to the heart of it. Structure. Smart Money Concepts detects two separate layers of market structure, and understanding the difference between them is genuinely the most important idea in this whole video. The first is internal structure. That is the smaller, faster swings inside a bigger move, the minor pushes and pullbacks. The second is swing structure, which is the major, obvious turning points that define the bigger picture trend. Think of it like a road trip. Swing structure is the fact that you are driving from one city to another. Internal structure is every turn, exit, and lane change you make along the way. Both are real. But if you only ever stare at the lane changes, you will completely lose track of where you are actually going. Each of those has a show toggle, so you can display one, the other, or both. And here is where most people go wrong. They turn both on, at full strength, and then wonder why their chart has 40 labels on it. My recommendation is this. Beginners should turn internal structure off entirely and trade only swing structure. It gives you far fewer signals, but the ones you get are the ones that actually matter. Once you can consistently read swing structure without hesitating, then bring internal structure back on and use it purely for timing your entries inside a bigger swing move. Sitting next to those is a setting called the confluence filter. This is one of the most valuable and most ignored options in the whole panel. When it is on, the indicator filters out weaker internal structure breaks that do not line up with the broader move. In plain terms, it deletes a large chunk of the noise for you. If you are keeping internal structure switched on, turn the confluence filter on as well. There is very little reason not to. Then you have Show Swing Points, which labels the significant highs and lows on your chart and marks them as either strong or weak. Do not skim past this, because the strong and weak distinction is doing a lot of quiet work. A strong high is one that formed and then successfully pushed price down and broke a previous low. It proved sellers were genuinely in control there. A weak high is one that failed to do that. And that matters enormously for planning, because weak highs and weak lows are the ones price tends to come back and take out later. When you are hunting for where price is likely headed next, you are usually looking for the nearest weak point on the chart. That is where the resting orders are. Which brings us to order blocks, probably the reason most people install this indicator in the first place. An order block is the last opposing candle before a strong, decisive move away from a level. The logic is that a large player was filling a position right there, and that if price returns to that zone, the remaining unfilled orders may still be sitting there waiting. And it is worth understanding why that happens, because it makes the whole concept click. When an institution wants to buy a genuinely large position, it cannot simply buy it all at once. There are not enough sellers sitting at any one price to fill an order that size without driving the price straight up against itself. So it has to accumulate quietly, in pieces, around one small area. Then, when price finally runs away from that area, part of that large order is very often still unfilled. And if price drifts back down to that same zone later, those leftover orders can still be sitting there, waiting to be triggered. That is the entire theory behind an order block. And once you see it that way, the boxes stop looking arbitrary. Smart Money Concepts gives you internal order blocks and swing order blocks as two separate toggles, matching those two structure layers we just talked about. Swing order blocks are the bigger, more significant zones. Internal order blocks are smaller and far more numerous. You also get a count setting, which controls how many order blocks are displayed at any one time. The default is usually around 5. This is the setting I would change first, and I would change it down, not up. Displaying 3 swing order blocks at a time forces you to focus on the zones nearest to current price, which are the only ones with any real chance of being traded soon. A chart showing 10 historical order blocks looks clever and helps you not at all. There is also a mitigation method, which decides when the indicator considers an order block used up and removes it. You can base it on the candle high and low, or on the candle close. Using the close is the stricter, more conservative choice. It requires price to genuinely close through a zone before writing it off, rather than deleting it the instant a single wick pokes through. I would use close. And finally, there is a use candle body option, which draws the order block zones from the candle bodies rather than the full wicks. Bodies give you tighter, more precise zones, and therefore a smaller stop loss. Wicks give you wider zones that are less likely to be missed by a hair. Tighter zones mean better reward for your risk, but more trades that miss by a fraction. There is no universally correct answer, just know which trade-off you are choosing. So that is structure and order blocks handled, and honestly, if you stopped right there, you would already have a far cleaner and more useful chart than 90% of the people using this tool. But we have only covered half the panel. The settings that most directly create your actual entry, the gaps, the equal highs and lows, and the zones that tell you whether price is expensive or cheap, are all still switched on, still cluttering your screen, and still completely unexplained. Fair value gaps are next, and this is the setting that most directly hands you an entry. A fair value gap is a small window of price that got skipped over during a fast, aggressive move. When price runs hard in one direction, it can move so quickly that buyers and sellers never properly transact in the middle of that range, leaving a visible gap between the candles on either side. That untraded pocket is the fair value gap, and markets have a strong tendency to come back and fill it in before continuing on. And why does price bother going back at all? Think of the market as constantly trying to be efficient, making sure both buyers and sellers had a fair chance to trade at every level along the way. A fair value gap is a little pocket of unfairness, a slice of price that got skipped in the rush. Markets have a habit of returning to smooth those pockets out, in much the same way water finds its level. It is a tendency, not a law. Plenty of gaps never fill at all, and some get blown straight through. But it is consistent enough to build an entry around, and that is exactly why this setting earns its place on your chart. That is why it is so useful. It gives you a specific, pre-marked zone to wait for, rather than chasing a candle that has already moved. The indicator gives you a few controls here. The first is an auto threshold. When that is on, the indicator automatically filters out the tiny, insignificant gaps and only shows you the meaningful ones. Leave that on. Without it, your chart fills up with microscopic gaps that no institution ever cared about. There is also a time frame setting for the gaps, which lets you detect fair value gaps from a higher time frame and display them on your current chart. This is genuinely powerful and underused. A gap that formed on the 1-hour chart carries far more weight than one that formed on the 1 minute. If you are trading on a low time frame, setting your fair value gaps to pull from a higher one gives you far better zones with far fewer of them. And there is an extend option, which stretches the gap boxes forward in time so you can see where the price eventually comes back to them. Keep that on. A gap you cannot see is a gap you cannot trade. Next up, equal highs and equal lows. When price repeatedly stalls at almost exactly the same level, 2 or 3 highs at nearly identical prices, the indicator marks them. And these matter for a very specific reason. Every trader who is short has placed their protective stop just above those highs. Every trader waiting for a breakout has an order sitting just above them too. That thin band above an obvious equal high becomes a dense pool of resting orders. Traders call that liquidity, and large players are drawn to it because they need that volume to fill their own positions. You get 2 controls: a bar's confirmation setting, which decides how many candles are required before the indicator accepts that 2 highs really are equal. Raise this, and you get fewer, higher quality markings. And a threshold, which controls how close 2 highs need to be in price before they count as equal. Loosen the threshold, and you will see far more of them, most of them meaningless. Tighten it, and you will only get the clean, obvious ones, which are the only ones worth watching. Then there is highs and lows multi-time frame. This simply plots the previous days, weeks, or months' high and low onto your chart. It sounds almost too basic to matter, and it is one of the most useful things in the entire indicator. Those levels are watched by an enormous number of traders and algorithms, which makes them genuine decision points. If you turn on nothing else from this section, turn on the previous day, high and low. And last, premium and discount zones. This one takes the current trading range and splits it into thirds. The upper third is labeled premium, the lower third is discount, and the middle band is equilibrium. The idea is beautifully simple, and it is the discipline most retail traders are missing. You want to be buying in the discount zone, where price is cheap relative to the range, and selling in the premium zone, where it is expensive. If you catch yourself buying up in the premium zone, you are paying top dollar, and your stop has to be enormous, which is exactly how people end up with terrible reward for their risk without ever understanding why. Picture a range that runs from $100 at the bottom up to $130 at the top. The discount zone is roughly the bottom third, so anything under about 110, the premium zone is the top third, above about 120. Now, if you buy at 125, you are buying in premium. Your stop has to sit all the way down below the range, and your target is only a few dollars overhead. The maths is working against you before you have even entered. Buy down at 105 instead, and that same trade flips completely in your favor. Same chart, same idea, wildly different outcome, decided entirely by where in the range you are willing to wait for. So let us pull it all together into a clean, recommended setup. Mode on present for live trading. Internal structure off while you are learning. Swing structure on. Confluence, filter on. Swing points on, so you can see the strong and weak levels. Swing order blocks on. Internal off. Count reduced to about 3. Mitigation set to close. Fair value gaps on with auto threshold, pulled from a higher time frame. Equal highs and lows on with a tight threshold. Previous day, high and low on, and premium and discount zones on. That gives you a chart that shows you 4 things and 4 things only: where structure broke, where the unfilled orders might be, where the gaps are, and whether price is currently expensive or cheap. Now, how do you actually trade it? Here is the sequence, and the order genuinely matters. First, read swing structure to establish your direction. If structure is breaking upward, you are only looking for buys. Second, wait for price to pull back into the discount zone, so you are not paying premium. Third, look for your entry to line up with a marked zone, a swing order block, or a fair value gap, ideally both overlapping, because that overlap is where the highest quality setups live. Fourth, place your stop beyond the far side of that zone, where the idea is clearly wrong. And fifth, target the nearest weak high, or the pool of liquidity sitting above the equal highs, because that is where price is naturally drawn. Direction, then location, then zone, then invalidation, then target. Every time in that order. Let me put that into one concrete sequence you can actually use. Swing structure has just broken upward, so you are looking for buys only, and you ignore every short setup on the screen. Price then pulls back and drops into the lower third of the range, so you are now shopping at a discount rather than paying premium. Inside that pullback there is a swing order block, and a fair value gap sitting right on top of it. 2 separate reasons for price to react in the same small area. Price taps into that overlap. You enter there, put your stop just beyond the far edge of the zone where the idea would clearly be wrong, and you target the equal highs sitting above, because that is where the resting orders are waiting. That is a complete trade, start to finish, using nothing but the free indicator. And now the one mistake that ruins this indicator for almost everybody: trading every single box that appears on the screen. This tool will happily draw dozens of order blocks and gaps across your chart, and a beginner sees each one as a trade. It is not. The overwhelming majority of those boxes are irrelevant. they are historical, or they are against the trend, or they sit in a part of the range you should not be trading in. The indicator is a map, not a signal generator. It shows you where the interesting neighborhoods are. It does not tell you when to get out of the car. Your job is to wait patiently for the small handful of setups where direction, location, and zone all agree, and to ignore absolutely everything else. And to be completely clear, because this matters, no indicator predicts the future, and this one is no exception. Order blocks fail, gaps get blown straight through, and never fill. These are probabilities and areas of interest, not certainties, so you always define your risk before you enter and never bet more than a small, fixed portion of your account on any single trade. This is education, not financial advice. Add the indicator yourself. Scroll back through your own charts and study how these zones actually behaved before you ever risk real money on them. If you want the settings written out alongside the rest of the fundamentals, the free trading guide is linked in the description. Go and grab it. And here is where we go next. You now have a clean chart and a rules-based way to read it. But the tool can only tell you where the interesting levels are. It cannot tell you whether the market is even in a condition worth trading today. So the next video breaks down how to read that in about 30 seconds, so you know when to trust setups like these and when to sit on your hands entirely. I will see you there.